She stayed with him over 9 years. Here's the other part that you want to pin. He was super abusive. He was a drunk. He had no job. She took care of him. And she did that for 9 years. 9 years. Let that sink in. Have we seen this before? Do we see this in modern times? Being black in America has been one heck of a journey.
America has given the Negro people a bad check.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us.
All right, Black Coffee, the subject of the matter. Y'all saw the title? If you don't know who I'm talking about, within the title, she kept his name. Please, somebody in the comments, pause this right here and go in the comments and see if you can guess who I'm talking about. Real quick, she kept his name. The only person in Black history. She kept his name. Got famous off of her husband's name. I'll wait. Yo, rebuttal's a little too late. Okay. Shouts out to Kendrick Lamar, by the way. Anywho's, we are talking about Madam C.J. Walker, or born as Sarah Breedlove. Man, that lady right there is an interesting woman, and I wanted to cover her because a lot of talk out here in our community, you know, in general, the dating world within this country, but within this country, our Black community, you know, everybody have this talk that they think this whole modern woman narrative came from the feminist movement. It was intensified by the movement, but it didn't come from the movement. One of the beginnings of this happening was Sarah Breedlove, and we're gonna go into her timeline, and then I'm gonna give you my piece. Okay, so in 1867, Sarah Breedlove was born in Delta, Louisiana, orphaned at age 7 after a fever epidemic. So, of course, she lost a lot of her family. Her parents died from the fever epidemic. Her and her sister were orphaned. So, there you have it. She went through orphan for a little while. Then, eventually, at her later years, in her preteen years, she moved in with her sister. Later in her teenage years, she married Moses McWilliams at age 14. And the only reason she married that man is simply because she moved in with her sister. Her sister's husband was just rowdy and rambunctious, you know. So he was abusive and all. I'm just putting my little comedic spiel on there. He was very abusive. So in order to get out the house, she found a man, married him, got out the house quick. So it was a quick marriage. After he died, you know, during that marriage, she had her daughter, right? She had a daughter, Lalia. I can't pronounce her name. I'm so sorry. She had a daughter, Lalia. And then later on down the road, she married. She was widowed. Like I said, he died after a few years of her being married. Moses died. She was widowed with a 2-year-old daughter. Later in her life, she marries John Davis. Now, I want to stop here on John Davis. I'm gonna get deeper into it, but I want to stop here at John Davis. John Davis is going to be very interesting, and it's going to be a point that I'm going to make with John Davis. So with John Davis, she stayed with John Davis for over 9 years. I'm gonna let that sink into. She stayed with him over 9 years. Pin that. Everybody that's watching, pin that right there. She stayed with him over 9 years. Here's the other part that you want to pin. He was super abusive. He was a drunk. He had no job. She took care of him. And she did that for 9 years. 9 years. Let that sink in. Have we seen this before? Do we see this in modern times? We sure do. We sure do. We see it a lot. We see it a whole lot. 9 years. Now, okay. She was a widow. We gonna go back a little bit. Moses died. I'm almost sure she would have stayed with Moses. I'm almost sure of it at this point. We're almost sure. We can't guarantee it because he died before we can even know if she was gonna stay with him or not. So she was widowed. I give her that. I would definitely give her that. Right? But with John Davis, she stayed with him for 9 years. 9 years. Jobless, broke, drunk, and abusive.
What?
9 years with a kid, with a baby girl. With a baby girl. I'm gonna move on, but I got. Let's sip some coffee. Let's sip some coffee on that one. 9 years. Really? That's crazy. All right, moving forward. We see it to this day. A lot of women, even successful women, done that. They have done that. Was they with Pookie and Ray Ray and mess around with them for years, and they get online talking about niggas ain't shit. You generalizing men to these Negroes. It's crazy. Now, mind you, this is the late 1800s. Mind you, our freedom have only been enforced for a little over 30 years. Just 30. Think about the millennials, the junior millennials that's alive and walking around Earth today. Think about the junior millennials that's here today, right? 30 years. It's not a long time, right? That's not a long time. 30 years. And we have this type of carrying on happening. It's nothing new. Mind you, the feminist movement didn't start until the 1950s. Okay, this is the 1890s. Think about that. That's almost a half a century later. Keep that in mind. Moving forward. She divorced John Davis after 9 years of documented dysfunction. After 9 years, she finally divorced him. Right? In 1904, Sarah meets Annie Turbo Malone. I never knew the lady's name. I knew she had a mentor. I never knew her name. And she stayed with her for a bit and learn the hair business for a while. So she worked for Annie for a while, and Annie mentored her, took her on her wing, let her stay there, helped her out. I got her out of that abusive situation. You know, I give a round of applause for the sisterhood for that. We get a round of applause for that. That's good. That part of the sisterhood I appreciate. Because sometimes Negroes ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But you picked them though. I mean, come on. But I still give y'all round of applause. I still give y'all's due. You know. But moving forward, so after Annie Turbo took her in and mentored her, she began to get into the hair business. She began to start manufacturing her own product. When I say manufacture, I don't mean like a manufacturing plant. I mean her creating her own product, her own hair care product. She began taking what Annie was doing and redesigning, being innovative. Now I will give her point, and everybody have gave her just due for many, 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 many years for her being the first female millionaire. She's smart. She's smart, bro. She's very innovative, very creative. She's a survivalist. So I'll give her just due. I'm not here to bash Madam C.J. Walker. She left an amazing legacy. But let's continue moving forward. I just want to put that out there. So now here comes our third marriage. This is the part I want you guys to let everything sink in. And I think everybody knows this part by now. She marries Charles Joseph Walker, CJ. And that's 1906. Newspaper advertising salesman. Let me tell you about CJ. CJ was the top dog when it came to marketing and sales in that area. The top dog. The big man at the top. The man on top of the mountain. He was for that area, that city, that town. CJ Walker was that guy. And his stuff did get out to the public further out. He had a further outreach than just that town. But in that town, he was the big dog. Anybody outside that town see his name and the marketing, and they like, oh yeah, this is legit. When I get to that area, I'm about to go over there. You know what I mean? And see what's popping. You feel me? Right. So he was a whole girl at the top. Now she uses CJ. There was no real documentation of her actually like wanting to create like an actual relationship with CJ. I don't think she did. She had her own hair care product. She was on a mission, and they met through her trying to get marketing for her hair care products. Cause now she's trying to leave from under Annie, which is fine. You get a mentorship. You want to leave from under your mentor. You feel like you're ready. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But she created her own hair product and she wanted to market, and that's how they met. Cause guess what? He's the big dog. The chief of Lagos, of marketing. He was the big dog. So she met him through that, and she used that. He found her appealing. He liked who she was. And she used that. He then marries her. So guess what? She's getting free marketing. That's her husband. I'm gonna pause it right there, because you know where we get now. You know the end of the story. You know the end of the story. I'm gonna pause it right here. So when it comes to a marriage, right? Like a legit marriage, not just some modern marriage, not just some business marriage. No, like a legit marriage, a legit conciliation of two families, right? Like legit, where two people are actually like making things work. So we're supporting each other, we helping each other out, whatever pursuit that we have. Together, we're in this together. If I have a pursuit on, okay, let's say what I'm doing right now. I have a pursuit on podcasting, right? I expect my mate to support me in that. If my mate also has a pursuit in fashion design or something, I have to support her on that. Right? And we build together. It's all about building and growing together. Kevin Samuels talk about that a lot. About building and growing with somebody. Not just utilizing them for your own means. You have power in community and family. That's where your power, the real power lies. Not some dysfunctional power. Like a Napoleon. Nothing against him. He was a great leader. Documented, quote unquote. But like a Napoleon. When you read that story, he did some underhanded shit. That's not how you get power. You get power through community and family. Moving forward. So you know the rest of the story pretty much. Where CJ, he rebranded Sarah as Madam CJ Walker. He did the photos. He did the marketer schematics. He did all those things. And blew it up. Now we're going further down to the line. In 1912, she divorces CJ. Kept his name. When she had other connections with the big manufacturers, there was a few other big manufacturers. I forget their names. Once I remember their names, I'm going to put it in the comments. I promise. I got you guys. But Henry Ford was one of the big manufacturers around that time. But he was in the business of cars. So, but he was a whole guy at the top at that time. He was a big dog. The other guy that she worked with was another big dog in the manufacturer game. After she got connected with him, she left CJ. That man was confused. He was confused and didn't know what was going on. And the reality is she just used him for that. For monetary gain. She only stayed with him for monetary gain. Time moving forward, the relationship between her and her daughter, she never really spent any time with her daughter. Case in point, y'all ever notice some of those rich kids, right? That and I'm getting to my time here. Yeah, some of those rich kids that have like dysfunctional relationships with their parents, and your thing was a 2-parent household. You know they shouldn't have these dysfunctional relationships with their parents. Well, a lot of there's a few of those, you know, rich people that don't spend a lot of time with their kids because they're too focused on the business. They're too focused on being independent. They're too focused on I can do bad by myself, and that's what happened with her and Layla. I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. Completely cut her lineage off. Because her daughter didn't continue to have kids. At least I don't think so. Not at the time. She didn't go forth and had kids. She had 3 failed marriages. She did exactly what her mom did. Outside of the monetary gains. There was no bonding. There was no development. There was no teaching. She was just too focused on Madam C.J. Walker hair products, hair care products. Too focused on the sisterhood, because the legacy, she did leave a legacy and room for women to grow in the hair industry and have different, hair salons and, and sell hair care products and things in that nature, right? She did build that legacy. Shouts out to her. We all know that legacy, but the truth of the matter here, she didn't have a good return on her investment. She didn't contribute to what was going on in that time frame. We were still dealing with the dysfunction and the racism inside this country as a community. We were still dealing with bigotry. We were still dealing with systematic racism, with redlining and things of that nature. People not getting hired with jobs. She amounted to nothing. She amounted to something. Not family. You have power in family and community. The only reason that she even had a legacy is because it was documented. But there's a saying, right? Kevin Samuels saying, buy a dog, die alone. And that's exactly what Madam C.J. Walker here. Here's my take on it. I just pretty much went through it. She made an investment into her career. She made an investment into her hair care product. She made an investment into a community, but she had poor return. Dysfunctional relationship with her daughters. 3 failed marriage. No building of a real community. She left a legacy of a business community. And you look at them now, I mean, moving forward to today, a lot of those women that's deep into their hair care business, they are single and alone. Not all of them have dysfunctional relationship with their kids, but that's the legacy that she left, and that's what's being promoted right now. The godmother of the boss babes. Yet she kept CJ's name. Left him high and dry. Fast forward, moving to now, you see the incentive of divorce at a 72 percentile rate. Use a man for his money and leave him high and dry. How is that building community? How is that building true power? How is that building true wealth? Where is your real return on investment? Just money? You can't take money to the grave, my boy. You can't take money to the grave. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just can't do it. And your kids might blow the money that you leave behind. So there's that. What return on investment are you getting? The I don't need a man narrative. Yet, she kept his name. Yet, a lot of other women that are rich off of men keep their name. So, here's the refill. In order for us to come back to being progressive as a community, as a black community, I commend you. This is to my women. I commend you to work it out with the kid's father. Because these kids, they need their fathers. I mean, we can't even have family functions anymore. That happened at Piedmont Park recently. Amongst other things, the terroristic activities going on in Atlanta and Houston and, all these major cities. And these are kids without fathers. Work it out with your baby daddy, man. I'm not saying get back with them because they probably don't want you. I'm sorry. I'm just putting that fact out there. I don't mean to be mean. But work it out with them. Co-parent with them. Ladies, the other things is, do actual pair bonding. And start getting with dudes that you fantasize about. Start getting with Pookie and Ray Ray. And they call other men, the rest of the men, dogs. Stop doing that. Do an actual pair bond. Build a family. Because it has been proven you can have your cake and eat it too. You just got to do it in a certain way. It's not the best example, but this is the only example that's coming to my mind. Look at Candace, right? Candace Owens. Although we don't all agree with her talking points, look at Candace Owens. Have her cake and eat it too. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's a commentator. She got money. She got success. She's still a mother on a day-to-day basis. She's still a good wife to her husband. You can have your cake and eat it too. You just have to be feminine. You know what I mean? Not have these masculine characteristics. The last thing is stop the hate towards the men. Let me know what you guys think. All right. Right down here in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. What's your take on that? I want to hear your opinions. Please don't be disrespectful. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It's your boy True. I'm out.